You know, sometimes the most profound stories, the biggest mysteries, are hidden in just a single verse of Scripture. In the Qur'an, in the chapter named for Maryam, there's a moment of absolute despair that's met by an incredible miracle. And today, we're going to dig deep into that single moment using a traditional commentary to explore the two big theories about who is speaking.
So to guide us, we're not just reading the verse by itself. We're actually looking at it through the lens of a classic scholarly commentary on this very chapter. This is what lets us get beyond a simple surface-level reading and really unpack the layers of meaning that scholars have been debating for centuries.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to set the scene with Maryam's crisis. Then, we'll get to the mystery itself, this voice that speaks to her. From there, we'll explore the two main suspects, if you will. Was it an angel, or was it the newborn baby? And finally, we'll look at which theory the commentary argues is the most powerful and why.
Okay, so to really get the miracle, you first have to understand the pain. You have to try and put yourself in Maryam's shoes. She is completely alone, not just dealing with the physical agony of childbirth, but also this crushing, immense social terror of having a child without a husband. She's all by herself, totally overwhelmed.
And this verse, wow, it just hits you. This isn't just someone crying out from physical pain. She is wishing for non-existence. She wishes she had died and been completely forgotten. I mean, that is rock bottom. It's a state of absolute, total crisis.
But it's right here, at her absolute lowest point, that something extraordinary happens. A voice cuts through the pain, through the grief, and it offers her comfort and a sign that she has not been abandoned. This moment, right here, is the pivot on which the entire story turns.
The wording here is everything. It's the key to the whole theological puzzle. He called her from beneath her. Now, the voice doesn't just offer comforting words. It points to a physical miracle, a stream of water that has suddenly appeared. But that little phrase, who is the he? Well, that deliberate ambiguity sets up the exact question we're here to explore.
So yeah, this is the central mystery, isn't it? Was this a divine messenger, an angel, just continuing his mission? Or was it something far more immediate, far more personal? The identity of this he completely changes the nature of what this miracle means. So let's look at the two main interpretations.
All right, theory number one. The speaker was the angel Jibril, who you might know as Gabriel. Now, this is a very logical, very powerful possibility, and it has a really strong basis within the context of the story so far.
So the main argument for this one is all about consistency. It basically sees this voice as a continuation of the divine messages that have been guiding Maryam all along. I mean, an angel announced the birth to her in the first place, so it would make perfect sense for an angel to be there right after, offering comfort. It just fits the pattern.
The arguments for the angel are pretty solid. Like we said, Jibril was already part of her story. It would be totally logical for him to show up again. But here's a crucial piece of evidence from the text. The voice says, "Your Lord has provided." See how it's talking about God in the third person? That's typically how an angel speaks, as a messenger and intermediary. This explanation gives us a powerful miracle, for sure, but one that fits an established pattern of how God communicates.
Now, let's turn to the second theory. And this one is a real game changer. It suggests something far more direct, way more personal, and what many argue is an even more powerful miracle, that the voice belonged to the newborn baby himself, ʿIsa.
Just take a second to let that sink in. This theory says that the very first act of the infant ʿIsa, literally moments after being born, was to speak to his mother to comfort her. In this version, the message isn't just about a miracle, the message is the miracle.
The case here really hinges on taking that phrase "from beneath her" as literally and physically as possible. In that moment of childbirth, who is directly beneath her? Her newborn son. And then the argument becomes deeply personal. What could possibly be more powerful, more comforting to a mother in despair than hearing the miraculous voice of the very child who is the source of all her fear? It's proof, protection, and comfort all wrapped up in one.
So we have two really compelling theories. You've got the logical, consistent angelic message, or you have the stunning personal miracle of a talking newborn. So how does our source text, the commentary, weigh these two options?
When you put them side by side like this, the difference really becomes clear, doesn't it? The angel's voice is comfort from the divine. The infant's voice is comfort that is divine, right there, embodied in her son. One is a message about the sign, and the other is the sign, speaking directly to his mother's fear. So here's the bottom line. After weighing all the evidence, the commentary concludes that the infant Ģisa speaking is the stronger, more compelling interpretation. And the logic isn't just about which miracle is bigger or more flashy. It's about which form of comfort was more profound and perfectly suited to Maryam's specific crisis. And this is the real heart of the argument. Look, an angel's voice would have been comforting, no question. But the voice of her own son performing a miracle, that would have instantly transformed her entire understanding of what was happening. Her fear was centered on this child, so the most powerful cure for that fear had to come from this child.
You see, this first miracle wasn't for the world to see. It was just for her. It was a private, intimate sign for a mother in her moment of greatest vulnerability. It proved to her that this child wasn't a source of shame, but was, in fact, a source of divine protection, right from his very first breath.
And this interpretation leaves us with a really powerful thought to ponder. It suggests that maybe the most profound miracles aren't always the big public displays. Maybe they're the deeply personal signs that meet us exactly where we are, in our deepest moments of need. Which brings up a bigger question for all of us to think about. How do miracles, big or small, really work to affirm our faith when we find ourselves in our own greatest moments of crisis?